This video is to go over the Unit 10 checkpoint number 1. Number 1 says Martha's video game rental plan costs $18 per month. Which table shows the sum of the amounts that Martha will pay for her video game rental plan over the next 5 months? So this one is super simple. All it's asking is that we increase the cost each month by $18. Now it does want the sum, so we would continue adding 18 every time. So let's look at A. A goes from 18 to 36. That has an increase of 18. 36 to 54, which is an increase of 18. 54 to 72, which is 18. 72 to 90, which is 18. So far, A would be our answer. But let's double check the rest to see. So on B, we go from 18 to 23, and that is 5. From 23 to 28, which is also 5. That's 5 all the way across. So they would put this answer to try to trick you with the 5 months. But since we're looking for $18 per month increase, B would not be our answer. The next one is C. Now this one is tricky because it does increase 18 every month. But the reason this answer is wrong is because it tells you right here that your first month is free. We are not given that information anywhere in the problem, so C would not be correct because 1 month would cost $18. And on D, it never increases all the way through. So that first month would be $18 and every month after that would be 0. So D would not be our answer, so we have A as our answer. Number 2 says Sylvia paid $7.47 for 3 boxes of cereal. What was the cost per box of cereal? So when we have this, we're looking for unit rate. When we find unit rate, all we need to do is divide the two numbers. Typically, your money goes on the inside of your division problem. So 3 goes into 7 twice, and that's 6. Have 1 left over, bring down the 4. Bring up your decimal. 3 goes into 14 4 times. That is 12. Have 2 left over, bring down the 7. 3 goes into 7 9 times. So we get $2.49, which is A. Number 3 says the total distance a snail travels in feet, y, is directly proportional to the number of minutes the snail travels, x. What is the constant of proportionality represented in the graph? So anytime we see constant of proportionality, we should always think k equals y over x. So we would need to find our perfect point on this number line. So we start at 0 and we go until we see a perfect point, which is right here. So we're going to make our point. Now, our y would be 6, because this is our y-axis. So 6 is going to be our y, and our x-axis is going to be 2. So we're going to plug in those numbers. Y is 6, x is 2. So we get 6 over 2. Now that is just a division problem, top in, bottom out. 2 goes into 6 3 times, so our answer would be 3 feet per 1 minute. Number 4 says Alfreda made a container shaped like a triangular prism, as shown in the diagram. What is the volume of the container in cubic inches? So a very important part of this sentence is triangular prism. That tells us that the triangle is the base of our shape. So we're going to highlight the base of the shape, which is that triangle. Now, we need to find volume. So the volume formula is volume equals big B H. And that big B stands for area of base. So we need to find the area of that triangle. So that formula is area equals 1/2 little b h. So the base is 11, the height is 14, and then 1/2 really just means divide by 2. Now we can do this in any order because it is PEMDAS order of operations. So we can do 14 divided by 2 to get 7. Then we can do 11 times 7 for 77. So the big B is 77. Now we need the height of the prism. And if we were just to look at this without thinking, we would probably pick 14 as our height. But the height of a prism is what connects the triangle to that other triangle, the base to the base, which is right here, and that's 4. So we're going to do 77 times 4. 7 times 4 is 28, carry the 2. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 2 is 30. So we get 308 as our answer. C. Number 5 says Ariel and her family are going to order one large circular pizza that has a diameter of 20 inches and one small circular pizza that has a diameter of 12 inches. Which measurement is the closest to the difference between the area of the large pizza and the area of the small pizza in square inches? So when I have this problem, I like to be visual, so I like to draw it out. So it has a diameter of 20 is the first one, 20 inches. So that means the radius would be half of that of 10. And the next one says has a diameter of 12. So the radius would be 6. So I'm going to put in equals D and equals R to help us out. So let's find the area of the first circle. The area formula is A equals pi r squared. That r squared just means r times r. And pi is 3.14. So let's plug in r times r for the big circle. So that'd be 10 times 10 times 3.14. So 10 times 10 is 100. Anytime you're multiplying a number times 100, all you do is move the decimal 2 times to the right. So 3.14 turns into 314. So it would be 314 for the big. Now we need to do for the small. So we're going to rewrite our formula. A equals pi r squared, which is 3.14 times r. Let's plug in 6 for our radius, and 3.14 stays the same. So we do 6 times 6 to get 36. Now we need to do 3.14 times 36. Six times 4 is 24, carry the 2. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 2 is 8. 6 times 3 is 18. We're done with that, so we cross out, put an X for place value. 3 times 4 is 12, carry the 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. Now we need to add it up. We get 4, 10, 8, 9, 13. Carry the 1. 9, 10, 11. We have 2 decimals, so we add 2 decimal places down there. So we get 113.04 as our area. Now, it does want the closest to the difference. So I'm going to do 314, 314, not 3.14, minus 113. Now, since it says closest, that 0.04 is not going to make a huge difference, so I'm going to avoid using the decimals. So when we do this, 4 minus 3 is 1, 1 minus 1 is 0, 3 minus 1 is 2. So I'll get 201, which is C. Number 6 says Corin used a rectangle, an isosceles triangle, and a right triangle to form the figure shown. Which is the best estimate of the area of the figure in square centimeters? So first, I'm going to set up the problem and separate my workspace into 3 different shapes since I have 3 shapes I need to find. So I have my rectangle. I have my isosceles triangle. And I have my right triangle. So first, the rectangle. Formula for area is area equals base times height. So that is our base of this rectangle is 10. The height is 4. So you do 10 times 4 to get 40 centimeters. Now for the isosceles triangle, which is the top one, the area is still 1/2 base times height. So the base of the isosceles triangle is 10. The height would be 2, and we have to divide by 2. So again, we can do this in any order. So let's take care of the 2's. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 10 times 1 is just 10. So we get 10 centimeters. Now for the right triangle. This one's the trickiest one here. We have to pull over the 4 because this side and this side are the same. And then we have to figure out what this line segment is. So since we have 10 here, this blue would also be 10. So then we look at 15. Take away the 10 that we've already used, because 15 is the entire side. 10's this part. What's left over would be 5. So now we should be able to do our math problem. So for area of a triangle, so area equals 1/2 base times height. Our base of this triangle is 5. The height is 4. 1/2 just means divide by 2. So again, we can do this in any order. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 5 times 2 is 10. So we get 10 centimeters. Now we need to add up all of the shapes. So I have 40 plus 10 equals 50 plus the other 10, which equals 60 centimeters squared. And that would be D. Number 7 says Gabriel must practice piano at least 15 hours a week. This week, he has practiced 6 hours so far. Piano lessons are part of Gabriel's practice time. His teacher gives 2-hour lessons. Which inequality can be used to find X, the number of lessons Gabriel must attend this week? So the first thing I'm going to look at is that at least. So that tells me the amount of time he's going to practice this week is going to be more than 15 hours. Because he can have exactly 15 hours or over. So that is going to help me eliminate some answers right away. So this part of the equation is the practice time. So in A, it says the practice time is less than or equal to 15. Well, we want more than, so A would be wrong. Now let's look at B. It has the exact same sign. The practice time is less than or equal to 15, so B would also be wrong. C says the practice time is greater than or equal to 15, which is okay. D says the practice time, 2x plus 6, is greater than or equal to 15, so that one's also okay. So before we get any math done, we can already eliminate 2 answers. So the next part we need to look at is going to be he has already practiced 6 hours so far. So 6 hours so far tells me that's my starting amount. So that's our B in the equation, y equals mx plus b. So the 6 hours is our B. And in this, for C and D, both sixes in both. So far we're still good on those 2 answers. Next it says his teacher gives 2-hour lessons. So that's going to be our M, because each time he does a lesson, it's 2 hours. So 2-hour lessons is our M. So when we look at our 2 answer choices now, we only have one that has an M of 2, and that would be C. Or D, excuse me. C is wrong. D would be our answer. Number 8, a one variable inequality is shown below. Which number line represents the solution to the inequality? So the first thing I need to do is solve the inequality. So I have 4x minus 3 is less than 5. So the first thing I do is I draw my line. Now I'm going to do the opposite of negative 3, which is positive 3. What I do to one side, I do to the other. So we cancel out over here. 5 plus 3 is 8. I'm going to bring down the 4x. Now I do the opposite of 4 times x, which is divided by 4. So it cancels out over here. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I get x is less than or equal to 8 divided by 4 is 2. So x is less than 2. Now, since it's not equal to, I can eliminate a right away because of this closed circle. When it's not equal to, it has to be an open circle. Now, I can eliminate D because the arrow is pointing the wrong way here. So I'm already down to a 50-50 shot. Now, C is exactly on the 2 where I need it, and B is on the 1/2. So B would be wrong. My answer would be C. Number 9 says, Barbara signed up for dance lessons at Dance Unlimited. She was charged $55 per month for lessons and a one-time recital fee of $165. The equation represents the $495 total cost that Barbara paid to Dance Unlimited. How many months M did Barbara receive lessons from Dance Unlimited? So all this question is wanting me to do is solve the equation. So I have 495 equals 165 plus 55M. First, I start off by drawing my line. Then I'm going to do the opposite of positive 165, so that's minus 165. What I do to one side, I do to the other. So we cancel out over here. 5 minus 5 is 0. 9 minus 6 is 3. 4 minus 1 is 3. I'm going to bring down that 55M. Now I need to do the opposite of 55 times M, which is divided by. So those cancel. 330 divided by 55. So now I need to do my division problem. I'm going to go top in, bottom out. So I need to start dividing. 55 goes into 3 0 times, into 33 0 times. 55 goes into 330. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but I can start making some ideas. If I take away the 5, that would be 50. So instead of 55, I'm thinking of 50. The only way I can get 50 close to the 300 instead of 330 would be to be times 6, because I know 5 times 6 is 30. So let's try it. 55 times 6 would be 30. 5 times 6 is 33. And that is it. So it is 6 as our answer, which is B. Number 10 says, if x equals negative 8, which inequality is true? So there's a few ways you can do it. You can start by plugging in negative 8 anywhere there's an x in solving the math problem, or you could solve each equation. We're just going to do the plug-in method. So we're going to put negative 8 where x is on all of these problems. Okay? So on A, we have negative 2 times negative 8, which is 16, positive 16. And then we have a negative 7 with it, so that just means subtract. So 16 minus 7, and that answer would be 9. So it says 9 is greater than 12. That inequality is not true. So let's move on to B. We have negative 8 times negative 5, which is a positive 40. And then we have a negative 2. So we subtract 40 minus 2 is 38. This inequality says 38 is less than 16. 38 is greater, so B would be wrong. Next one, C, we have negative 2 times negative 8, which is positive 16. And we have a 4. So we get 4 plus 16 is 20. And it says 20 is greater than 20. Those are equal, so C would also not be our answer. And for D, we would plug in -8, and this is really a -1x. So we do -8 times -1, which is +8. So we get 5 plus 8, which is 13, and 13 is less than 15. So D would be our answer.